Hi guys, welcome to the video today, and it's all about 10 tips to keep WordPress in tip-top condition. That's quite a tongue twister. So this is your WordPress website or blog. Now I'm talking here about self-hosted sites, so we're talking wordpress.org, not wordpress.com, which is the one that's actually hosted by WordPress itself. This is a self-hosted domain, so you have your own domain name, you know, your Art of Crafts or your Cartwheels Across the Sky. You have your own hosting and you log into your dashboard basically to do all the updates. So today I'm going to just work through 10 things that it's good to make sure that you're up to date with, that you've done to keep your site running smoothly. Now obviously there's far more than 10, but I didn't want to keep you too long with this video, so I've just picked out 10 key important ones. There's a lot more to dive into with WordPress, and I will be doing that in various videos you know, over the coming weeks and months. So first of all, the first thing I want to talk about is permalinks. Now there's a caveat to this. If your site's been running a long time, you've got a lot of posts, a lot of pages in there, do not change the permalinks now, because all the links that you have around the internet will stop working. So that's very, very key thing. This is mainly for people who, this point, the others are for everybody, but this first point is mainly for people who have only just set up their site, or they're in the process of doing so, or they've hardly started, and I just want to quickly draw your attention to it. So basically, to change your permalinks, you go into your you go into your settings and you go into permalinks. Now when you first set up WordPress, it will probably be on this one here, which just says P equals 123, and the number is just whatever the post ID number is, or the page ID number. Now obviously that's not great for search engine optimization. What you are better to do is to change it to this, the post name. So if my post name, for example, is 10 WordPress tips, that will actually show up in the URL at the top of the page, and that really helps you for search engine optimization purposes. So as I said, if you're very new to WordPress, you're just getting set up, change it to the post name. If, on the other hand, you've had your site running a long time, do not just switch this, because any link that you have out there will stop working. I just want to make that really clear. And if you do want to change this and you've had your site a long time, you need to speak to somebody that's kind of an expert in the field that can help you do that process. Okay, so these ones now for everybody. So the next thing I want to say is to delete unused plugins and themes. So here are your plugins, and then in your appearance, here's your themes. It's best not to leave things in the back end of WordPress that you're not using. So for example, if you have plugins that you think you might use soon, then fair enough, leave them there. You might want to reactivate them. But if there's something that you're not going to use again, then just delete them out of there, because you're probably not updating them regularly. They could be security issues, they're cluttering up the space, they could be causing you to for your site to load slightly more slowly, they could be leading people to get in through sort of back doors and implant malware in your site. So anything that's not being used, not being updated, just delete it out. The same is true of themes. Number 3, publish or delete comments. So over here on the left hand side you can see the comments section. If you've got any, they'll come up with a little number next to them. Just go in. If they're valid comments that you want to publish, then get them sort of published and out on the site. If they're spam, then delete them. If they're you know, just something that you don't want, delete them out. You don't want lots of comments hanging around in the back end there. So number 4 is keep the framework up to date. So when you come to your dashboard, at the top it will tell you if WordPress has published a new update. Always click on that and update it. Now before you do any updates in your site, it's always a good idea to back up the site. Now I will be talking about backups later, but you know, things can go wrong when you update the framework, when you update plugins, themes, anything like that. So it's always a good idea to make sure that you've got a backup before you go ahead. But do keep your framework up to date. Again, there's 2 reasons for this. Security. So obviously if you've got the latest version running, it's likely to be more secure. Plugins are updated in line with the latest version of WordPress, therefore you want the latest version running. Also, WordPress is making improvements to the platform all the time, and you want to keep up to date with that. You know, things like images, you can now drag and drop images and resize them actually within posts. That's a big thing that was never possible before. So there's all little things that add up to a better user experience each time. So again, keep things up to date. Make sure you've backed up the site before you do updates. So update plugins as they become available. So you can see here, or you would be able to if I was on the right section. If you've got any plugins to be updated, again a little number will come up next to it. You just go into the plugins and here it will tell you if there's an update available. You would just click on that and click on it, and you can actually update all the plugins at the same time. Again, you can go into the appearance here and you can do the same with your theme. So it's important to keep things up to date. Now always choose strong passwords for your user accounts in the site. Don't have too many. Probably don't use your admin account as the one that you create content. So, you know, whatever your admin account is, create another username that you can use that actually goes on your posts, and it doesn't necessarily have to be an admin. It could just be an editor, or it could be an author or a creator. Don't use admin for the same user that you create your content with. The other thing is to choose very strong passwords. Now WordPress does allow you to choose passwords now, but also it allows you to generate passwords. That's the word I was looking for, generate passwords. And it generates very strong passwords, you know, very long ones, mixture of letters, numbers, characters. And you do need a very strong password because people are trying to access sites all the time. Now, install some sort of security plugin on the site. I use WordFence. There's a free and a paid version of that. There's other security plugins out there, so have a look around and see what works for you. Now, what that does is if people are trying to hack into the site, it will lock them out, things like that, after so many attempts. So you can set it to say 5 attempts. If they're trying to log in and they can't, it will then lock them out, because you don't want people constantly bombarding your site trying to log in, and you'll be surprised there are people out there trying to do that. Now, when you're choosing themes, when you're choosing plugins, backup plugins, security plugins, any plugins, always check that they're using the latest version of the framework of WordPress, B, that they're constantly being updated. You'll often see plugins that haven't been updated in a year. It's not a good idea to install those because they could be security risks, and also they're just not being updated, so ultimately they're going to break when it comes to a latest version of WordPress. So you update the platform and the plugin no longer works or causes you an error because it's so out of date. So make sure everything in your site is keeping up to date. Also, always look at the reviews of all these things that you install on your site. WordPress is what's called open source, so it means that anyone can develop for it. So you want to make sure that what you're installing is well regarded, secure. So check the reviews, check that people have, thousands of people have installed it, so you know it's working well. Go into WordPress.org, look that plugin up, and see what people are saying about it. See if there are any security issues that people are raising, or any problematic areas, any support issues. It's always important to make sure that the things you're adding to your site are robust and secure. And back up daily. You want to be backing up daily. You also, as I said, want to be backing up before you do any updates. I use a plugin called Blog Vault. That is actually a paid plugin. There are lots of others again out there, so do your research and make sure that you're using one that's well regarded. Now, optimize your images. What do I mean by that? So if you go into your media section where all your images are. Now, when we create a beautiful image for our site, maybe we've taken an image of a product or something like that. In your posts, in your pages, in your store, you're probably going to only have an image of a certain size. I would say probably a maximum of around 800 pixels wide. Often in your blog posts they're a lot smaller than that, maybe 300-400 pixels wide. It's important not to upload photos and images that are like 2,000 or 3,000 pixels wide. If you haven't got very good broadband connectivity, they're going to take a long time to upload, and they may often hang or crash as you're actually uploading them. B, they're going to slow your site down. If you've got loads and loads of images in the back end that are, thousands of pixels wide, they're going to really slow it down. So optimize the image. Always cut down the size of the image before you upload it to WordPress. Don't cut it down within WordPress, because you can do that. You can, make the image size smaller when you're in there, but there's no point in uploading an image of that size unless, of course, you've got a photography site or something where someone's going to download the image and you want them to be able to do that. For most people, you don't want to upload the massive sized image. You can resize it in something like Paint on PC. There'll be something similar on Mac. You can use PicMonkey, you can use Canva, you can use lots of different photo editing software. Just resize it before you add it. And lastly, choose a robust, secure theme. Now, there's free themes out there for WordPress, there's paid themes. I'm not saying that all the free themes are bad, they're not. Some of them are very good. But again, always do your homework. Check what people are saying about it. Check how many times it's been installed. Is it regularly updated? Is it updated to the latest version of WordPress? And that's true of free themes and paid themes. That people can put paid themes out there that aren't very good and break regularly. The themes I tend to use, I do use different ones, but I do like the Genesis themes by StudioPress. I find they're very robust. Obviously they're very well supported. You have Genesis as the main theme at the framework, and then you can have lots of different child themes so you can make the site look different. Again, that's just one thing that I use. There's lots and lots of different ones out there, so have a look around, see the look that you're trying to go for, and then again, do your homework. Make sure that you're choosing something that is regularly updated and is robust and secure. Okay, I think that's all for today. I've gone on quite long enough, so I hope this has been helpful. Implement those things on your site that you're not doing already. If you've got any questions, do leave them below in the comments section. I'm happy to help answer those questions, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening, guys.